With a hint of mass layoffs in WWE and more, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Speaking about when he plans on retiring from pro wrestling commentary, Michael Cole told the Sports Media Podcast, "People ask me all the time, how long are you going to do this for? I'll tell you one thing, 30 years would be a really cool goal. That's 4 years from now. But I can promise you this, I will get out before I slip. I'm not going to be, and no disrespect to anyone else, but I'm not going to be a 75 or 80-year-old man doing this week in and week out. I busted my ass. I made a really good living, and I want to be able to get out while the going is good and still be able to enjoy the rest of my life. I don't want to be a shell of myself. I don't want to be that. Man, that guy used to be good. He's not good anymore. I don't want to be that person." Talking about Jay White signing with AEW, Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio, "I'm surprised because if he's with AEW, he could go back to New Japan in theory, but he lost those matches that said he couldn't. WWE was after him. It was his choice between the two sides, and this was the side he chose. It's a feather in the cap of AEW and Tony Khan. He got the guy. That's a good thing for AEW. Now they have to use him the right way." Taking to Twitter, Danhausen revealed a kind gesture from CM Punk whilst he's been injured, writing, "I've had a rough month with everything going on, and a great friend of mine, Pepsi Phil, surprised me today with my Holy Grail collectible in an unspeakable act of kindness, amongst other suspected unspeakable acts of kindness. He'll be mad that I posted this. I don't care. This is my revenge. One more note, this man has checked on me literally every single day since I got injured, and since the loss of my cousin to make sure I'm okay, aside from normal friend talk. So is Brody King. He will bully me." With FireVince trending during WWE shows, Ringside News noted that we reached out about the new FireVince trend. A tenured source in WWE told us that the new powers that be are aware of the scandal. They're aware of all the criticism of Vince's rewritten scripts and anything else you could think of. It was added that we've heard a lot about Vince McMahon's new arrangement with Endeavor today. The new deal is not done yet, and Endeavor is aware of the controversy and upset fans. That being said, we were told they're not about to address it and ruin their multi-billion-dollar deal. Iconic theme creator for WWE Jim Johnston had apparently contacted AEW about making music for them, as he told Conversations with Conrad. "I actually approached AEW at one point to write some themes for them with no interest. The way I approached, it's very possible that the people in charge never got that memo. I'd be happy to write themes for them. I'd be happy to write themes for WWE, but I would never want to get as immersed as I was. It's almost a frustration for me. The few times I'm going through these cable stations and I land on one of these programs and I'm shaking my head. What does this music have to do with anything? We've gone from a time when you could be cooking in the kitchen and the TV is 2 rooms away and you could tell who was coming out to the ring. Now it's noise to me. How did that transition happen to where it seems to just get done to the pure noisy spectacle of it all? And we've lost that magic of all about character and storyline." As Ronda Rousey previously buried the WWE creative team over how her feud with Liv Morgan turned out, Dutch Mantell said this about it on his podcast: "I would like to have Ronda standing right in front of me right now, and I'd open hand slap her." She came out earlier in the week and says that WWE, with those octogenarians like the 80-year-old guys, they don't know what it's like to be hip and this, that, the other, and I'm thinking, shut up, Ronda. You can't do it on your own, so listen to somebody. And the octogenarians, I think she was talking about Vince maybe, I don't know. There's nobody there that's 80, close to 80, except Vince. Touching on Cody Rhodes coming up short at WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. said on his show that it was a good weekend for WWE, it just was a really bad weekend for Cody Rhodes, and for everybody that invested their time and energy in watching his story, which was billed as a Hollywood story to come to a finale in Hollywood and supposedly have a Hollywood ending, and it was the worst possible ending a movie could have. I've heard people say, well, maybe we'll do it at Madison Square Garden, where his dad won in a couple of months, and it's like, you're going to force it and force feed the championship? That's what fans hate. It's when it's like, we'll give him the title on this date because of this. No, give him the title when the story dictates the title should be given. A fan was apparently ejected from WrestleMania 39 for his tribute to a WWE legend, as it was said that not only was Cody Rhodes screwed by the Bloodline tonight, I was screwed by a security guard at SoFi Stadium. He made me leave and change out of the same Big Boss Man costume I wore yesterday to WrestleMania because I was impersonating a law officer. Giving details on Brian Cage's status with AEW, it was reported that Brian Cage is technically a free agent, while ROH six-man tag team champion. Fightful Select has learned that Brian Cage's agreement to work with AEW/Ring of Honor expired at midnight following ROH Supercard of Honor. Originally, his deal was set to be up before that, but he agreed to work through the show. All Elite Wrestling not only has a long-term contract on the table for Cage, but we're told there were attempts at a short-term extension to discuss a longer-term contract. When Fightful asked Tony Khan after Supercard of Honor, he stated that he wanted Brian Cage to remain with AEW for a long time. We're told that productive conversations have occurred between the two sides, and conversations are ongoing. There have been attempts from ROH/AEW to extend Cage's deal due to injury time, as he was sidelined when they first signed him, but Cage pushed back on that. With the daughter of Eddie and Vicky Guerrero, Sherilyn, accusing her stepfather, Vicky has deleted her response on Instagram. But now Sherilyn's sister Shaul has said this about it. I am deeply saddened at the state of my family has been in for years. What my sister stated happened on the cruise was true. She did get SA'd by my stepfather. SA is never okay, and she has every right to talk about it. Was it? No, but it was unwanted touching, which is absolutely unacceptable and traumatizing. This incident tore an even deeper wedge into our family than what was there before. My mother and sister have had a deeply tumultuous relationship for years, same with my sister and I. After this incident on the cruise, we all went into various forms of therapy in order to heal. My sister has led the public to believe we abandoned her after the SA, which is not true. The family went into various forms of therapy, and Mom and Chris helped Sherilyn get on her feet again by helping her financially, as they have done for Sherilyn since she was 22. Does this solve the wounds? Absolutely not. But she was not abandoned after this incident. In response to my sister saying, I have left her alone and blocked communication, I don't owe anyone an explanation for the steps I take for my own mental health, but I will defend myself when prompted. My relationship ended with my sister years later after the SA. I had blocked communication after she continued to verbally and emotionally abuse me during arguments, and when it came down to Houston to help her in recovering for a surgery. During that trip, Sherilyn's abuse was so intense, I had to leave her home, which was fine to leave her home alone for an hour, so I could try and gather myself. I tried to drive to a show in San Antonio, but was riddled with panic attacks. My husband flew me home, and I pulled out of shows because that abuse combined with my already unwell state led me to have some serious suicidal ideation. Sherilyn till this day uses that fact that I had to leave our argument as ammunition, saying I abandoned her. Barely understand, let alone the fans that think they know our family. I'm so sad that we are dealing with all of this hurt publicly now. I hope the family that is supporting you will hold your hand and give you the support you need. That family does not include me due to the verbal and emotional abuse you have subjected me to over many years. My boundaries matter just as yours do, and until you agree to meet with a therapist to work this out, then we will continue to heal separately. I hope you find healing. Speaking about it, Vince McMahon will be in Portland for SmackDown tomorrow. Dave Meltzer said this about WWE Creative on Wrestling Observer Radio. Either he's coming to Portland for SmackDown and tearing up the show, or he's, at worst, maybe going to stay in Connecticut and be in the production meeting remote, in which case he'll probably have less tearing up of the show. But he's there, and he's the decision maker, and he's number one. He's number one. That's it. Triple H has gone from being the guy to being basically what Paul Heyman was and what Bruce Pritchard was before, where they're in charge, but everything gets overruled. When it comes to a new addition to All Elite Wrestling, it has been said that AEW has hired former WWE Vice President of Communications Adam Hopkins. PWInsider.com has confirmed. While we are not sure of the title, one would think that after all of his years with WWE, Hopkins would likely be working on the PR side and helping that area of the company. With UFC and WWE set to merge under Endeavor, COO of Endeavor Mark Shapiro hinted at layoffs when speaking to Puck. Anything from HR to finance to legal to communications production to distribution and marketing. Across every area, you're going to find cost synergies. You're going to integrate and ultimately highlight and appoint the best and brightest teams. There's no question that when Nick Khan goes in to renew his domestic deals, having us at the table with our relationships and our portfolio of assets will be helpful in the process. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.